This recipe makes slightly more croutons than you probably need, which is convenient because people keep walking by, including me, and snacking on them. Today on Don't Panic Pantry, we are celebrating the upcoming launch of the Don't Panic Pantry cookbook coming out on January 31st. We're going to do a recipe from the book today on the show, but you can pre-order yours right now and get exclusive pre-order discount codes to amazing brands like Fly by Jing, Sun Noodle, and Enzo Olive Oil. Today on the show, we are going to make the chef salad with Probiotic Ranch and Cheddar Croutons. So we'll make a quick Probiotic Ranch dressing, then we'll make some Cheddar Croutons, throw it all together for a nice salad, and you can have a secret Health Man lunch in the style of Don't Panic Pantry. First thing we're gonna do is make our Probiotic Ranch. The ranch, you can make it and use it right away, but because there are dried spices in there, it kind of tastes a little better when it blooms for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes first, and it'll keep in the fridge for like 5 days. We've got a half cup of probiotic yogurt. Now you might be saying, isn't all yogurt probiotic? And the answer to that is I don't 100% know, but I assume that the ones that aren't calling themselves probiotic are technically not, and it might have to do with which cultures they have in them. You can also just use pretty much any yogurt, but the trick is you want a plain yogurt with no sweeteners, no sugars, none of that like, oh, it turned out I bought vanilla yogurt, which has 40 grams of sugar in it. Like, no. Plain yogurt, ideally it says probiotic on it. You want as many active cultures in there as you can. Apparently there's studies now saying that dementia can be caused by poor gut health. We're basically taking a half cup of probiotic yogurt, and then I'm just gonna take 1 garlic clove, little grater here. You could also finely chop it, but I love grating. And here we've got some granulated garlic, granulated onion, and any dried herb will work well. Oregano works great. Italian seasoning is kind of fun because it just feels more ranchy. That garlic powder blooming in the dressing kind of gives it that ranch flavor. That fresh garlic is great, but you want both. We've got a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lime juice, AKA a little.
Stop making that sound.
2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna kind of eyeball that. I'm just gonna pour that right in there. Take a tablespoon of parsley, and some of the stems are okay in there. You don't want to go too crazy on the stems, but they give a little crunch and are kind of nice. You want a nice fine chop on this so that it really disperses into the dressing. It's not going to taste like, you know, your traditional ranch dressing, which has so many stabilizers and usually has sugar, buttermilk, sour cream, all that kind of stuff. So this is just a light, bright, punchy, gives you kind of a waft of that ranch flavor, but is just super duper good for you. We're going to add some black pepper. Just grate a bunch of pepper in there. I think the black pepper with that creaminess is really nice. A little bit of salt in there. And then I'm just gonna give this a little whisk. You can use a fork if you want. Look at that. We got Probiotic Ranch. And taste it for seasoning. You get this kind of bright, punchy, it's a little bit spicy from the raw garlic. Ooh. Zippy, bright, super fun. I love this dressing. This is gonna be kind of the main flavoring agent for the entire salad. So I don't mind if it's got a little juice to it. So now we're gonna let this just sit at room temp. If you're gonna be waiting a while, you put it in the fridge, but this can just sit and it'll start to bloom as the dried garlic and the dried onion kind of soaks up some of that moisture, gets more and more flavorful. So now we're going to make the cheddar croutons. This is my favorite way of making croutons. Ideally is that you want it to be like crispy on the outside, but still have a little bit of give on the inside, so it's not just a full like, I like a little texture in it, so fresh bread is great. Any kind of crusty, nice bread. I don't cut the crust soft bread for croutons. I know some people do. I kind of like that crunch and what it gives you. So we're just gonna take about a half pound of bread. So cut this into like 3/4 to 1 inch cubes. They're croutons. Don't worry about it too much. Be rustic. Meanwhile, preheat your oven to 425, because when you're all ready to go and the oven's not preheated, you end up sitting around for a while. I like them a little on the big side because I like having that texture on the inside. Les croutons. Is that what they say in French? In French?
In French.
And now the trick is with this, you want to actually mix all the ingredients other than the bread in the bowl first. You make a little slurry, then we'll toss it with the bread and then put it right into the oven on the baking sheet. Start out with 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil. We're using this Enzo olive oil. Then we're taking a rounded teaspoon of sweet paprika, ideally a smoked paprika I love for this, but use whatever you got. And this gives it a little bit of smoky flavor, gives it some nice color on the croutons. And then we'll take our 1 1/4 ounces of cheddar cheese. You want a medium cheddar, not a sharp cheddar for this, because a sharp cheddar will break more. The more aged cheeses break into oil more, so you want a medium cheddar or a mild cheddar. Let's kind of take a look in here, and now you start to see it all kind of mix together. Kind of swirl it to combine. If it seems a little dry, we can add more olive oil once we get the bread in there. Depending on how dry your bread is, it might want more or less olive oil. But now look at that kind of cool color you're getting on that. We're also going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. This is kind of just to taste. You can always add more when it comes out of the oven when you try them then too, but a little bit you know is going to go into it, so you may as well do it. Take the bread, throw it right in. Now we're just going to mix this and toss it together. You can use your hands if you want. I'm going to use a spatula. Trying to get, you know, the cheese to mount around this whole thing. Let's add a tiny bit more oil. And some of the cheese is going to melt off onto the pan, and that's okay. This will give it that kind of nice, fun, deep flavor, but see how that color is now starting to spread into all of them? So take a look at those now. Those look nice. Put these all in a nice single layer. Now it's kind of soaked in that oil. It might look dry, but there's oil in them hills. So basically we're just going to cook these until they are crisp on the outside, but still tender on the inside, which is usually about 10 minutes, but it can vary depending on how moist your bread is, the type of bread you're using. All those things are factors. The cool thing about croutons is if they're really crispy, it's fine. And if they're a little soft on the inside, it's also fine. It's toasted bread with cheese and olive oil and paprika. It's delicious. 425, about 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna take these guys now and just kind of rough chop these just to kind of make it a little more bite-sized for salad. And sometimes with greens and lettuces, I like to cut them first and then wash them. So you can kind of wash it, dry it, and then you're ready to go. And then some Kalamata olives. And then I'm just gonna take one carrot and just grate it right in. It's a really weird angle to be doing this from. Just regular, natural leaning over really far for no reason. Remember too that when it cools off, they will crisp a little more. So like that is looking pretty good. They're gonna firm up. We'll just take these out, turn off the oven, set them here to cool off. Let's eat one now. See how we're doing. I love the combination of the crispy outside, the softer, chewy interior. Then you get the paprika, the cheddar. It's just kind of a beautifully balanced crouton. I love it. So now it's just the old dump and toss. So obviously a head of lettuce can be a very different size depending on what you go with. So, you know, like anything else, if it seems like it needs a little more something, you can always add a little more olive oil, a little more salt to it, but this should work out pretty good. Quick toss. And the grated carrot kind of gives you the impression of grated cheese, but it's actually just super good for you. Like, how good does that crouton look with all the stuff in there? Like, it's soaked in some of that John yogurty. And if you're worried that it's because your lettuce was a little bigger than you thought and you realize you need a little more dressing, you can always just add a little bit more lemon juice and olive oil. That dressing is also great as like a dip for crudité. Lots of fun ways to go with it. And now, let's eat it. So now this is Secret Health Man Salad. Get one of those croutons in there, which starts to get a little sogged up from the dressing, but still has crunch to it. The olives give you that little briny hit. It's just a super light, refreshing. It looks kind of like a chef's salad, except the shitty cherry tomatoes are actually red bell peppers. The mediocre grated cheese is actually in the croutons and looks like carrots. Bright, crunchy, John yogurty, pepper, garlic, cheese, bread. It's a complete, get you out the door, light on your feet, feeling good. One of many recipes in the Don't Panic Pantry cookbook. Pre-order it right now. Links in the description box. And you get amazing promo codes for a bunch of really cool products. Make this salad. It's very good, very nutritious. Probiotic Ranch, you heard it here first. Buzzwords, marketing, synergy, efficiency, energy, nuclear fission.